Alright, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel once again, and this is going to be another tier list. Today we are looking at the excellence of execution, Bret the Hitman Hart. We have quite a few attires here, more than expected. Bret, I think, definitely has more looks than people expect. It doesn't just boil down to pink and black. There were some other choices. Not all of them paid off, but nonetheless, we also have our tiers here. We have the excellence of execution, and meaning it's a really good attire, really awesome attire. Or then we have A tier, meaning it's not maybe not top tier, but still really good, really solid. B tier is kind of the middle ground, not great, not horrible. C tier is it's kind of like almost at the bottom. It's very meh, very one or two things keeping it from the bottom, and then the bottom is screwed because as Nigel Dixie didn't screw Bret Hart. Bret Hart screwed Bret Hart by picking that terrible attire. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So starting with pink. I know it's immediately kind of contradicts it, but they do become a little bit more distinct. Man, this is a cool attire. Like Bret Hart and really like the entire Hart foundation, and for the most part, but especially Bret. Man, they make pink look good. Definitely going against the grain. Obviously, pink is more so just a color, but I feel like it's not often where the guys were like the main event in like the main event spot wear pink, especially during this time, as it was a bit of a different time, if you know what I mean. But nevertheless, Bret's here in the decked out pink gear. He's even got the pink jacket, and then it's just all this stuff going on here, with like the not necessarily spikes, but like this stuff coming out. I think it might supposed to be flames, and then the hearts down there, and then his logo in like the center there. It's a bit off to the right, which is kind of driving me crazy, at least in this particular image. But otherwise, it does still look pretty cool. It's man, and what it looked like. It's almost seemingly basic as a lot of the color schemes are, or a lot of the detail and stuff going throughout is what makes it pop. So this one is definitely excellence of execution, and is the pink for Bret Hart. But then next up is the black, where it's predominantly black. Now, I think most, if not all, the attires do have at least somewhat of a pink and black like element to them, and this was right after the Montreal Screwjob. But nevertheless, pretty much like an inverse of this, where the parts that are pink are black and the parts that are black are pink on this one. But I think it still looks okay. I do kind of prefer like honestly the pink versus like the predominantly black, but it's still, I think it's still really solid. And I did kind of group kind of the pink ink attires and like the black attires together, as well as this next one, because there are quite a few of them. But nevertheless, that's gonna go in A. And then next up is pink and black. Like you saw it coming, but of course it's probably the usual iconic color scheme, usually like the pink top and then the black pants, or vice versa, where it's the black top and the pink pants. But it still looks really cool, and the way he's able to customize it and everything, and definitely, yeah, I probably should have put like the black and pink. Oh no, that is not B tier, here, my friend. That is excellent execution. But I probably should have put black and pink, like with the black part on top and the pink part on the bottom, because that's cool as well. So you know what? Let's do that. Let's retroactively add that as well. Definitely iconic, like very iconic color scheme for Bret, and especially with like all the stuff going on. Yeah, and the jackets and stuff really, because oftentimes the jackets add to it. The jackets definitely add to it, kind of like that Michael Jackson, and kind of does remind me kind of like Michael Jackson's jackets. But yeah, so those color schemes are definitely worthy of the excellence of execution tier. But now we move on to the Hart Foundation, early Bret, back when he was still a tag team with Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And not quite as flashy as his later ones, but still pretty solid. So the Hart Foundation, I think, it's a nice tag team gear, but obviously it becomes fleshed out more when he becomes more of a solo guy, and that makes sense. So it's gonna go in B for now. Then next up is the all pink version, and the all pink version still looks good, but this may have like the black and pink. I think this one more so, mostly pink. But I think it still looks pretty solid for the most part. Again, as a tag team gear, and you kind of have to put it in that vein. So this one's gonna go in B as well. And of course, there's R.I.P. to Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And next up is the Hart Foundation blue. Yeah, yeah. And Bret didn't always wear pink. They also had the blue, kind of basic, but this was like the early days. But we do have to be as fair as possible. But I think it still looks okay for the most part. I do kind of wish he had like a blue attire when he went solo, but otherwise, what can you do? So I'll put in B. As for the black one, very basic, very generic compared to the other ones. Once again, different time, early days, very, very early days for Bret Hart. But still, I do have to be fair, so we're going to put it in C. And I think now we are moving into the more specific attires, the attires that are kind of a bit more distinct. Starting with SummerSlam 91 against Mr. Perfect. I definitely got to check out this match at some point because I heard it was really fantastic. But not quite as flashy, kind of, and you can tell kind of transitioning from that like tags and gear to more of what we would come to know as a singles gear, but still pretty cool. It's still got like the hearts and stuff, and it's got the pants and then the stuff going on the sides. This one is gonna go in. This one's gonna go in. I think I'll put it in B. He is the attire there. But next up is WrestleMania 9 against Yokozuna. I do wish there was a bit more black to balance it out, but I still think it looks fine. And again, we're not counting first of all, of course, these are all my opinions, so if you disagree with these, that is completely fine. But also, we're not counting the match quality, the match itself as part of the gear here. Although it would be worth mentioning sometimes. But in the case of this one, and we're looking strictly at the gear, because if we had to base off the match, it'd probably go in the bottom. But we're looking mainly at the gear itself. And the gear itself, I think, is fine. Do wish there was a little bit more black, but I think it's okay for the most part. This one is gonna go in B. So next up is Survivor Series 1993. Bret, what were you thinking? Now this was the family versus, the entire Hart family. It was Bret, Owen, I think Jim, and I think Bruce Hart, if I'm not mistaken, and I think one of the other Harts going against Shawn Michaels and his team. It was supposed to be Jerry Lawler, but Jerry Lawler was kind of in some trouble at this time. But this is it's not a good look. Leave the short singlets to your brother Owen, and is not it still has the same color, the similar color scheme, but it's not. It's not, and there's hardly any black in there. Sorry, this one is screwed. I know a lot of people hate it, and I'm really not the biggest fan of it. It's sadly just not a good look, but hey, they can't all be 10s. But then next up is SummerSlam 94, SummerSlam 1994. So of course this match did kind of really help further along the feud that Bret had with his brother Owen, and now this is when it's in full swing, they face off in the steel cage here, but this was a fantastic match, of course, but as for the gear itself, a lot of people don't like this gear, and for me, admittedly, the paint splatters, I think the paint splatters is what really gets people. I do like how it's consistent through the black, and I'll admit I'm not the biggest fan of it. It still looks fine, it just does look a little weird, so I don't think it's quite bottom of the barrel, but at least he's not wearing short shorts this time, so I'll at the very least put it in C. He not the biggest fan of it, but I can't blame him for trying. But then next up is SummerSlam 1995, and I know this gear is kind of hard to see, but back to the solid black, and then and the shapes this time around rather than Hitman there, or sometimes he had the Hitman lettering, or like some other stuff going on. And so he had like the shapes and stuff in there, like the star and the heart and stuff. So I do think like the other black ones still pretty cool, and the shapes don't really off-put it that much. So I think I will still put it in A. Then next up is Survivor Series 1995. It's kind of in a similar vein to this one, except pink, so pretty much like an inverse version. And then this one is pretty good as well. I like the shapes and stuff, so if I put the other one in excellent execution, I definitely gotta put it there as well. I still think it's pretty solid, and from what I remember, a pretty good match against Diesel here, but obviously match quality doesn't indicate the attire, so still pretty solid. Then next up is Survivor Series 1996. aka I believe this was the beginning of Bret Hart's feud with Steve Austin. The feud that definitely made Steve Austin a made man in WWE. One of the things that made him a made man in WWE/F, but otherwise, as for the gear here, I do kind of like the concept of it. Trying to incorporate the flames into it. It does look a bit strange, but otherwise, I think for the most part, the way it's placed, it does more so. Like, it does kind of play well with its subsequent black and pink brethren, and I do like kind of differentiations of pink, where this one's more of like a hot pink, this one's a bit more of a magenta almost, but I do think the fire does kind of play well into it. It's not quite as jarring, I don't think, as this one, but I think it still looks decent for the most part. But I think I'll at least put it in. Yeah, I'll put it in B. Yeah. So then next up is Bash at the Beach in 1998. So, I almost didn't put his WCW gears in there because they're pretty similar, but I at least conclude this one because you can't really see it, unfortunately, but on the back, the Hitman part that's usually in white, I like this back part here is this time in black, and I think it would almost not work, but I think it still does work okay in terms of the gear, or that's the only real change, but otherwise I think it still looks okay, so I'm gonna put it in, I think, A. Only to keep it consistent with the other ones. And then last, but possibly, not really, possibly, kinda at least, is WrestleMania 26. It's when Bret Hart faced Vince McMahon at WrestleMania. 2010 was a weird year in WWE, but as for the gear itself, and the feud, going into this, in case you care, is pretty much Vince trying to screw Bret once again, kind of revisiting the Montreal Screwjob, but also kind of feuding there. So that him trying to sell the differences is in reality they had buried the hatchet many years before. But as for the gear itself, I think this was supposed to be a street fight, so you do kind of have to grade on a curve. And the shirt is kind of nice, but otherwise he's kind of on the basic side. But I can't really get mad at it. Maybe it's just me. I can't really get mad at it, but I don't think I can give it more than like a C. It's not absolutely terrible, but it's compared to everything else, it is kind of plain. But I don't quite know if I can. I don't quite know if I can put it in the bottom, especially with the shirt. The shirt is nice. It has the logo and everything. The shirt is nice. Excuse me, but nevertheless, I think that's going to do it for this ranking. So, So to recap, in Excellent Execution we had Pink, Pink and Black, Black and Pink, and Survivor Series 95. In A tier we had Black, SummerSlam 95, and Bash of the Beach 98. In B tier we had the Heart Foundation Pink, the Heart Foundation Blue, SummerSlam 91, WrestleMania 9, and Survivor Series 96. In C tier we had the Heart Foundation Black, SummerSlam 94, and WrestleMania 26. And in Screwed we had the Survivor Series 1993. So that is going to do it for this tier list. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the tier list of my rankings. Do you agree or disagree? And what's your favorite Bret Hart attire? So this was something I was going to bring up until the time, but I think I'll bring it up now. I'm sure some of you are wondering, hey Nigel, you reviewed a lot of other championships, where's the tag team championships one? The thing is, because they said new designs were on the way, I wanted to hold out for the time being, but for whatever reason they're stalling. So you know what? I might just say screw it and go for it. It probably, if not this week, then probably next. So stay tuned for that. And then we have like a kind of one more, at least in terms of WWE, when it comes to championship rankings. But also, if you missed any of the other championship rankings that we did for the current championships, the World Championships, the Women's Championships, and the Mid-Card Championships, go check those out on the channel. But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.